Hey Carrie, how are you doing? It's so nice to get a video from you, and honestly, it came at just the right time. So, yeah, thank you. It's so good to hear from you. Your tattoo is gorgeous. Your hair is super cute. I'm glad to hear that you had some time to spend with your family. I know that it's tough when you are, separated. Some of my, I had some, time to spend with friends after, that I hadn't seen since the pandemic or whatever, and it's just, geez, it feels so good, And they're just friends, they're not even family. So, well, I mean, they're family. They're adult family. Yeah. You're right. I was going to send you a video in April, but this, late spring, early summer, it's been a whirlwind of craziness. We did get the mechanical horse, and it is hilarious. And yes, I will send you a video of me and Angela riding it, or it's super fun. It's funny. It's taught me a lot about horse riding, frankly. Let's see, what other stuff has happened? Well, probably the main reason that I didn't get around to giving you a video in April, even though I think I took a stab at making it a couple of times, but each time I was like, this is stupid. I took Angela's advice, and when I went to my doctor for my yearly checkup, I was like, I asked her for some sort of a pill for my anxiety, which I have never done, and it has been interesting. What can I say? Well, for about the first couple of months, it's been positive all around, but for the first couple of months, definitely it took away all my ambition to do anything other than just go along and sleep. And so that caused a bit of consternation in my household. It's also caused, a slight weight gain, which I'm working on. I'm working on working my way out of things. I was thinking about this in a couple of different ways. I feel like I have to kind of relearn things that I taught myself before, like how to make sure your laundry is not only clean but also put away, how to make sure that dishes are done, how to make sure that, anything gets done. So it's been this process of reteaching myself, I've got to find motivation in myself to do these things for myself. And then having the courage and my convictions to actually do it. So, and also having compassion with myself if I'm just too tired, because my brain is being flooded with norepinephrine. So I don't know what that means, but there we go. It is interesting. I feel like work makes more sense than it ever has. I just kind of go to work and do work, and I don't feel weird about it. I know that I'm competent to do it, and I just get it done, and it's fine. So I don't have the same anxiety that I used to have around work. I also find it much easier to hang around Angela's family, which also used to, fill me with a lot of anxiety. But I also find it extremely difficult to eat slowly. For a while, I was finding it difficult to not drink, because you're not supposed to drink on this medicine. And I'm still finding it a challenge to find it in me to do exercising. But I was able to get up and do yoga twice last week. So the other thing that I was thinking about all of this in terms of was this feeling of I've got to level up. How when you're doing a video game, you learn how to do a skill and you're I can do this skill. It's fine. I've got it down. And then you change to the next like level or the next round or whatever, and you're actually doing the same skills, but you're doing them in a slightly more complicated atmosphere, slightly more complicated course. I feel like I've got that now. Like I know how to eat slowly. I know how to, it's not even necessarily like emotional eating. It's just like, just remember, like, you don't have to inhale everything just because it's awesome. Like, just because you're being permissive with yourself so that you can develop compassion doesn't mean you have to, like, eat that candy bar just because it's there and feel good about it. So it's been interesting. I was thinking, I think I might have said this. It feels kind of like all the stuff I learned before was kind of state dependent learning. It was dependent on me feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of like self-reproach, like self-critique. And now that I don't have a lot of anxiety or self-critique, I'm just like, whatever. So now I have to learn to take care of myself in a kind of like non-anxious, non-self-reproaching circumstance. But I have been getting more and more exercise as, like I said, it was kind of a fight in my household. It was many fights in my household because it freaked out Angela that all of a sudden I was like, I don't know, the garden might get planted or it might not. Or like, I don't know, I know I just came home from work, but I think I'm going to bed. Like, I don't know, I just think I'm gonna eat a pizza. Like, I don't know, whatever. And she got really upset and freaked out a lot because she's like, I don't understand what you're doing. I don't understand why you're just doing all these things that are against what you've said you wanted to do for so long. And so my thing was like, I've just got to have my own experience on this and just see where it goes. So I find it, good that I'm really like trusting myself through the process. But, at this point, I've gained a couple pounds, less than 10, but I've gained a couple pounds. And at first I lost some weight, which I was like, wow, nice. And then I started to go up a little bit. So, I've gained a couple of pounds and it's time for me to, really start putting just a little bit more intention behind things. But all in all, it's been really good. For what was otherwise a very stressful spring into summer, I, had my deposition for my case against Von Maur, which was very, very stressful. Angela bought a horse, and it turned out to be lame, and it turned out that the people who sold it to us knew that. And we had to put the horse down, which was very also stressful. Let's see, what else? I got a rooster, which got hurt and had to be put down. That was very stressful and sad because I really loved that little old rooster. I had a chicken that got sick and died. So that was sad. And stressful. I had kind of an interesting, I know that you're a vegetarian, so I'll spare you a lot of the details, but this year I did sort of an experiment in food integrity, and I got some broiler chickens. So I raised them, in like a free range type of thing, and gave them, the best life that I could give them, and then I butchered them, which was, it took a second because I had, grown up and, like these chickens had grown up with me, and, it took me a little while, to kind of consider like the difference between like the kind of animal deaths that I've experienced this year. But they are really tasty, and I worked really hard to honor the chickens. Like, I saved all the parts of them that were savable. I, gave the feet to the dogs. I've made broth from the parts that were unusable. I have, I made a pate out of the livers. I saved the gizzards and hearts. to cook. I worked really, really hard to make sure that, I wasn't just, taking the thighs and, throwing everything else away. And it's a very interesting process. There was definitely like some spiritual aspects to it that we can go into later, or, if you don't care, that's fine too. But yeah. So there's been, I'd say more than your average amount of death on the farm than I normally have so far, this spring. Let's see, what else? Angela's been sick the last couple of months with a kidney infection, and on Wednesday, she is going to get a kidney stone taken out. I don't know if you remember that last year she had kidney stone problems, and man, they, as far as I knew, they took care of everything that was there, but now she has one like the size of a freaking sugar cube in one of her kidneys, so that has to go in and get sort of like blasted with sound and like taken out. And it's just been making things really hard for her because she really hasn't been able to get over her kidney infection, and for the last easily month, she's been on probably like 6 weeks now. It's pretty crazy. She's been on antibiotics, like different kinds, and it's been really tough on her. Yeah, easily, geez, since the beginning of June, really, so nearly 2 months. It's been tough. Actually, since the end of May. Anyway, a long damn time is really what I'm saying. So we're finally getting that taken care of, hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's see, what else? I did manage to get some kind of a garden in. We got some tomatoes. We got some of the stuff that I put in, like, it was such a cold and wet spring that it just was hard to get into the garden, and then finally I got into the garden and, was able to put some stuff down into the ground, and then it was just so blazing hot. But I had some good luck with some onions, and, my tomatoes are going strong, and my peppers are going strong, and I put in some tomatillos, so I'm going to make some green salsa with the onions and the tomatillos and the jalapenos. And probably the biggest crop this year, I have about 60 potato hills, like 4 various kinds. So I'm doing some research about how best to preserve potatoes, because I can't eat however many potatoes this is gonna be. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. What else? Like, I feel like other than the potatoes, I should give you some good news. We got the pond cleaned out and stocked. Wow, this guy's taking a long time turning. We got the pond cleaned out and stocked, and I was able to use some of the muck that came up from the bottom of the pond last year to fertilize the fields. It's this really great, rich black dirt that's been under there, that's been, formed from like decades of leaf detritus coming down and rotting. So after that dried out, it was really good. I think that's really going to help the potatoes grow pretty strong. In the aftermath of the loss of one of the horses, I've been able to develop a closer relationship with the horse that we had. So that's making me happy. I spend a lot of time like kind of currying him and washing him, and he lets me get up on his back without a saddle and kind of like rides me around and make sure I don't fall off him. So that's fun. We've had time to go camping once, and we're going to go camping again in a couple of weeks. And, everything, it's funny, you're right. Like, I always, when I was a kid, thought of July as, summer still, but, I can just feel like fall is going to be here before you know it. People are already, they're not harvesting, but they're probably easily like on their second mowing of hay. We finished up our crop certification, and now the next deadlines that I have are kind of at the end of September. I'm hoping that I can get away and take some kind of vacation before October, but we'll see what happens. Angela was a little bit like, asking me why I was going to take a vacation alone. And I'm like, because I want to. But yeah, we've had some kind of tough times, like I say, in the spring and early summer, but we're kind of coming around. We've been working hard to learn to accommodate each other. So, and I'm having some good luck with my own therapy. There's probably about a million other stressful things that I could go into, but I won't bother you with them. I'll just say, like, we're getting into canning season. I did some pickling. I'm going to be making some jellies and jams soon. I'm excited about that. Yeah. Gonna make some plum jelly. That's about it. I'm gonna go home, and if it's too hot to get in the garden and do more weeding, then I'll do an exercise routine. I've seriously been thinking about maybe doing a month or two, going back to Nerd Fitness for a month or two, or maybe, going to book a couple of, private coaching sessions with you over a couple of weeks, just so I can kind of, put the training wheels back on in light of this whole, like, the way that this antidepressant has, like, knocked me back a little bit. So I don't know what your feeling is about that, if you have the time or the inclination. If you don't, feel free to tell me no. If you do and you want to do something like as private coach instead of like as Nerd Fitness coach, that's fine. That's fine with me. Let me know your thoughts. We have a history of trust and friendship. So yeah, I will let you go, and send me a note and tell me what you think. And I hope I haven't bummed you out too much, and hope I've given you one or two things to make you smile. All right, take care, Carrie. Bye-bye.